guys. CW is so good that it cured my cancer from last week. And I got those fucking terrible episodes. I can't believe how much everything bounced back.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah. I didn't think the Flash had it in it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The Flash does, but they've just been fucking spinning their wheels and spending time on stuff that is not interesting or doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And actually,
so you're talking about DeVoe's plan.
Yes, exactly. Actually, since I thought we were doing chronological order, we might as well talk about Flash first, right?
I think Legends is first.
Is it first?
Legends is Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I have stopped paying attention to when stuff comes out.
Yeah, I binge it all a couple days.
When you have it on demand any day in the week, it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Time becomes an immaterial object.
Exactly. Legends was awesome this week, and Neil McDonough is a gift.
Yes, definitely.
I'm gonna kick my ass.
So good. Yeah, I feel like if you aren't won over by the goofy version of Dark by this point, then nothing can win you over. He's done all he can do to get people to embrace him at this point. And this episode shows his comedic range a lot, which I enjoyed quite a bit.
That's exactly what you said, Arlen. This was the episode that Dark finally won me over. He's been a little bit goofy throughout the episodes prior to this, but he also hasn't been that big a part of the prior episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was nice to finally have him, basically have the episode be about him. Ray was part of it and the other Legends were, but it was mostly about Dark and his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just like last season, the episode that focused on the villains was the best.
Yeah. Kind of.
Okay.
At least one of the better ones.
Yeah, this is kind of a redux of that a little bit. We kind of got his side of the story and his daughter's side of the story, and it helped significantly with the overall show. So
Definitely does, and they were still able to tie it into the larger story that they're trying to tell as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So it was a nice little bit of a one-off and also a plot builder. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of movement in one episode. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we really have to talk about Damien Dark's fucking hair, though.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Same hair from Woody Harrelson in the Hunger Games to.
Dude, no.
It's the same wig, definitely.
He looked like fucking Julian Assange.
He really
yes.
did.
Yeah.
There was a moment. Yeah.
There was a moment where it's towards the end when he gets knocked down, and the fucking wig just goes.
It just goes everywhere.
And it goes everywhere. It looks like someone rubbed a balloon on his head.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's so obvious when the stuntman is wearing it too.
Yeah.
You can tell. It's great.
That wig was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think
Damien's style back then sucked. What was wrong with him?
I don't know. I guess that's
He's
what
like,
East
I'm an
Germans
assassin.
dress
I'm gonna get a pixie cut.
I think that's what they had in their wardrobe, and they're like, that works. Let's just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
We found this.
He goes from this and to the 70s where I put in the chat, he's dressed like Dr. Evil. And then,
Totally is.
And then in is it the 90s where Thawne picks him up in season 2? I don't remember.
It's the 80s because Thawne shows up dressed like he's from Miami Vice.
Oh, that's right. Right. That's where he picks him up from.
He totally, and then he has that fucking weird leather jacket on the rest of the season.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But yeah, so Dark has evolved quite a bit over time. His look
I will
changes.
say I think he's got to take a break from all these shows because it is his third season in a row where he's featured prominently as a villain, and it appeared in Legends season 1 with Vandal Savage.
He did, yes, and at the time he was better in Legends season 1. He was done much better treatment, and here's the thing: I'm fine with it because he does get better treatment on Legends, just immensely. He's just given far more as a character, and so I'm okay with him being kind of the de facto series-long villain at this point, because that's kind of what he's becoming, especially for Sarah. So, yeah.
I'm also unopposed to giving Neil McDonough work. So,
yeah, that's also true. And maybe we can have a flashback to him post Civil War times, and then.
Yeah. I'm really happy that he referenced the fact that there's a speedster in the team because I was hoping that would get brought up.
Yeah.
I hate speedsters.
It's pretty good.
And Kean Lonsdale is so much better than he used to be.
Yeah. We've been kicking around the idea of doing From the Vault episodes, and I feel like his first episode is definitely it's good material for that.
Oof.
Because he's grown so much. He's changed so much as
Erik,
a performer.
Never mind the fact that he just constantly makes speed references. He is a block of wood. he has like his range is minimal.
He has as much range as Gap Model did. As
he goes from
best.
he goes from like kind of
a cowbell. He's a wood block.
Yes, exactly. He goes from like mild manneredly polite to like kind of passive aggressive mean, and that's it.
Yeah, that's
feel
his
like
whole range as a character.
I feel like when I'm watching him though, like there are definitely times that I can feel that's there, but he's doing his damnedest to fight it off.
Yep.
Like there's just a certain aspect to his acting that I can feel like, oh, you're real close to going the real bad route there, man. Just rein it back in a little bit. But I've been completely happy with every time I've seen Wally for a little bit.
It has been so long since I've seen him in his suit. Did he get a new suit?
No. I think we just didn't see him in it enough. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the only time we saw him at all this entire season of all the shows was that brief appearance in Legends, and then
Crisis.
did he even have his? Did he have his suit in Crisis?
No.
He's at this is our biggest gripe with Crisis because he shows up and he's awesome at the fucking wedding, and then Joe's like, "Here, go in this side quest. We're not going to follow you."
Yep.
Yeah, most of his time in the suit was in season 3. He really has been suitless for the most part. I think Jessie has shown up in her suit more in all of season 4 than he has, maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's kind of okay because I think Wally's suit is probably one of the worst looking.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, yellow's a hard color. It's a very hard color to do. That's why Eobard's is mostly not yellow.
Yeah, and I actually heard that the reason for that is I heard it's basically it's just wear and tear. Like it used to be all yellow, and then because he's been wearing it for so long and running back and forth, the color's faded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But comedy was good. The stuff between Wally and Mick was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Wally has no fucking idea what's happening. He's like, "Oh my god, heat wave."
That's true.
He stole Jerry Garcia's glasses.
Well, I love the idea that Damien sent them off on a wild goose chase by saying something about the Grateful Dead shows, and they're just going to every Grateful Dead show they can find.
Yeah.
And knowing Nate's penchant for psychoactives, he probably got really, really high at one of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, he even makes a
probably.
comment. He's like, "Oh, I think I got a contact high," which, dude, you were on stage most likely smoking a bong with Jerry Garcia. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're Porky's Nick, as we all know. Yeah, no, this is a good episode. This is one of those things where it's hard to talk about a good episode. Really, like, in detail. I guess what we should focus on is Ray and Dark's daughter. Because there's something interesting going on there. And I wouldn't be surprised if her story is a redemption arc, ultimately. And her sort of turning good the last minute or something of that nature.
That or she's totally getting Jean grade.
Yeah, the demon is the one that's making her evil or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then Ray will have to kill her.
I don't know. I could actually see her having to be killed by Damien, and he's going to blame the Legends for some reason.
Yeah, I can
That's
see
actually
that.
interesting.
Yeah. And I mean,
Like, because
yeah.
it just him showing, how much he cares for his daughter, and I feel like that's what they were establishing a lot in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I could see
they
that
fucking
being the
got
twist.
me again. I thought she was gonna fall off that building. Second time this season has convinced me someone was gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I also think it's a cool character moment for Damien to be getting strangled while Force holding his daughter in the air, and then he kicks his own ass while again holding his own daughter in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And deflecting bullets. Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And Rip is back, and Rip's collar's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Does Rip have some sort of spinal issue? Because I've noticed he can't ever stand up straight anytime he's on screen.
He's always kind of arching forward a little bit, like he's going, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's too tall for the cameramen in Canada. Maybe they're just all. Maybe they're all just very short men. So he has to lean down. Because that's not
all
a
the
problem.
cameramen just have the cameras on their heads, like in Double Dare.
God damn it, yeah. Because that's never a problem in Doctor Who. Like, you don't watch episodes with Rory and you're like, is Rory like leaning down? But so yeah.
Well, I think it's because like Matt Smith is a long ass bitch.
True. Like he's
just fucking gangly in all limbs.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien looking motherfucker.
I did kind of laugh at the what's it called? Wally being like, yeah, I was his wingman, Central City, when he got dumped in his birthday by some basic bitch. Maya's like, yeah, I was that basic bitch, and he's like, cool, I'm gonna go now.
I kind of wish he had stayed though, and like instead of entering the ancestral plane, which is a word that we're getting used to lately. Instead of entering this ancestral plane, he entered the Speed Force. I think that would have been interesting. But I understand if they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I did like that he was completely unfazed. He was like, "Cool, I'm gonna leave now."
Yeah, because he's a Buddhist now, so he's like, "Oh, okay, I should just leave."
He's a Buddhist who was learning about Buddhism in China.
Yes,
because that's where they found. Okay.
Sure.
Anyway.
Sure, and Big Sur is like 2 blocks away.
This just in: Matt Smith is 6 feet tall, and David Tennant is 6'1".
Holy shit!
Oh.
Yep.
David Tennant is 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Tall man.
That actually would make him pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's just a giant gangly scarecrow, really.
He is. Good lord.
Yeah. Proper skinny. I don't
agree with calling Amaya a basic bitch, but like I feel like any grief she gets is probably well deserved because she did do a kind of a rotten thing.
Yeah, she left him on his birthday. Should be restated.
Yeah, no explanation. And I mean, they were part of a team of time traveling superheroes. I think she could probably explain something and it would be okay.
Yeah.
I guess there's no kind of assumptions about what Malice is now. He's just a fucking demon. There's no.
Yeah.
Well, he's whoever holds the Dark Totem. I think we're supposed to understand, and they decided to trap that person in the ancestral plane. I guess, which we're supposed. I'm still unclear as to how they're doing the mythology, but it sounds like.
I swear to God, if they end up like, ew, it's a Savitar again, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh my god!
I hope it's not Savitar.
That would be so unexpected. I would laugh my ass off because it'd be. I mean, and then once I realized how dumb it was, I would get really angry. But like that kind of insulting twist would just get me fucking dying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe it's not Savitar, but it's a Savitar-like evil Porky Snake.
That's what I mean. I swear to God, if it's fucking Barry, I'm gonna get fucking irritated.
Right. Or it could be Katie Lotz, which would just be like.
It would be it's more or less Savitar all over again.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's just whoever holds the totem, and the other totem bearers decided to lock them away, is how I interpreted that. But I guess the totems, they just all are connected to the ancestral plane. So they're changing like the idea of the green and the red a little bit, which is fine because it works with what they're going for.
That would be a bit too much, I think, for most audiences to deal with.
Like there's so much mythology that they'd have to introduce, and I do like the sort of simplifying it down for the show.
Yep.
It works for me definitely. And I like how the ancestral plane looks, honestly, and I think it's weird that I don't think those people would have known what it looked like in Black Panther, but they came to kind of the same conclusion.
Yeah, they did.
Like, very similar conclusions. And I mean, the first Black Panther trailer came out around Thor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
But like again, I don't think there was even ancestral plane in that trailer. I'd have to go back and look.
There's not. I'm almost positive.
I thought there was the one scene of T'Challa walking with the white like robe on or whatever, but you didn't know for sure where he was.
Right. Yeah. So
like it was definitely a heavily purple background, but
yes.
you weren't 100%.
Right. So it is interesting that they kind of came to like it's not even like kind of similar. It's like the same conclusion. Which is
pretty much.
Which is nice. I I don't remember what it's called, mutual evolution or something like that. Same idea. Great minds.
So, before we forget about it, we should really bring up the surprise villain appearance. Fucking Grodd shows up and kills a time bureau.
Well, that's not so surprising. It's just like
we knew Grodd was somewhere, but I was pleasantly surprised to see him.
I was like, oh.
It felt like they were saving him, and I was like, I wonder if this is the episode where they reveal why they've been saving him, and it's so he can kind of decimate the Time Bureau and put Sharp in charge, I guess. Which is a strong choice.
Rip apparently has some sort of weird knowledge of who she is or whatever her destiny is, because remember at the very end he told Gideon, he told Gideon to erase a file, and he said Sarah can never know what the truth is about. Excuse me, about her.
Ava's malice.
No,
Ava is Sarah's clone.
Ava is Sarah's daughter
DNA
from the future.
And Rip's DNA.
I don't know
Ava
if she's a daughter.
Is Savitar.
Well, I hope it's not her daughter. That would be really creepy.
No, wait, hold on. No, Ava's Zoom.
Oh, no.
Tying back to our Patty Spivot is Zoom theory.
No, my guess is that she's another daughter of Damien. She's a previous daughter that Damien is unaware of. Which actually...
The daughter in Arrow of Damien that's not the same daughter.
As the one in the show that's now? In the show now? Yeah, she is. Because she's from the future. So we see...
Okay. But she was in the past, though, in the 80s.
Yeah, she was. So they sent her... They sent... Oh, no, wait a second. Did they send her back in time? I don't remember. No, they went back in time. She sent them back in time. But no, she was in the convent modern day, and that's what she looks like after 2 years. Although I think that they did travel forward a little bit. I can't remember.
I feel like you might have two daughters.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Sharp is a separate person. It's a daughter that Dark is unaware of. Like, completely not a daughter that he is in contact with.
Rip probably Skywalkered her away.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's
that's actually not a bad theory.
And it kind of works. There's Dark's good daughter is maybe the overall savior of the season, maybe the hero at the end of the season. And
she's going to die then.
Yeah.
She's done.
She's going to die probably fighting her sister. So and I can see them doing that. It would be a very interesting twist, I think.
And then Rip will be in charge of the Time Bureau and
right, yeah.
I kind of want the Time Bureau to go away.
Yeah.
And then someone, fan theory, says that Luke Skywalker is her mother.
Oh, okay.
But then when it's not true, everyone gets real fucking mad about it.
Right. Yeah, and then they get so angry that they ask for George Lucas to come back.
And then Mick's going to take his shirt off and his chest is going to be gigantic. So.
And then that's going to break a girl's retainer.
That is the fucking best story I've ever heard in regard to comic book movies.
I love her orthodontist quote. She was thirsting so hard she broke steel.
But Michael B. Jordan coming in, he's like, since I feel indirectly responsible, I'll replace it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
God damn it.
We live in a good world.
We do.
Yes, we do.
I don't have anything else to say about Legends because
it's good, and I don't know. I'm interested to see where the Sharp thing goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm correct. So, yeah.
Two quick things. I really like Damien's dad joke when his daughter, I forget exactly what she'd said. Like she said, I'm frustrated. He's like, "Oh, hi, frustrated. I'm dad," and then laughs to himself.
Yeah, that was good. I also
And then-
liked him talking to the dead corpse. That was really good too.
Well, and that's the other thing that's connected is like, all right, so Upswipes, is that what the name of the company is?
Yes.
Upswips.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's more
Okay.
intuitive than left right.
So we're supposed to believe that it's a very successful like app maker and company in general, correct?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What company on fucking earth that's very successful has that much drop ceiling in their main office? That disgusted me.
You brought that
Oh.
up
One
in
that
the
likes
To
chat.
cut a budget.
Oh god.
It's called
It
I
Canada.
did
so
love
annoying.
the fucking. Someone mentioned in the group the comedic timing between him going up and down is more intuitive, and then Damien comes in and starts slamming him up and down.
Yeah.
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 That was
Yep.
fucking awesome. Still not as good as Return of the Mac, but close.
Yeah. That was a record-breaking scene. So
Yes.
yeah.
Flash?
I think Flash airs. Yeah, I think it does. I think it
Yeah,
airs.
Flash.
Yeah,
Arrow.
before Black Light.
Yeah.
Self-contained Flash episode
Yep.
was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
There was no DeVoe.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Made me very happy.
This actually, like, because earlier on, Eric, I think you had brought up, like, how the fucking Bear just all of a sudden do that in regards to, like, bringing people into what they call flash time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jay Garrick showing up and going, what the hell are you doing? How'd you do that? Kind of actually helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
And him saying it's a side effect of the Speed Force. I'm willing to accept it more because, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it would just mean that he exudes more of the Speed Force off him because he's been in the Speed Force for however long it was.
yeah, that makes very good sense.
It's almost like they should have had this episode, I don't know, 2 episodes ago. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe to explain things a little better.
But it was
Like,
a scheduling conflict probably with what's his face.
Oh,
Yeah, the guy who plays Jay.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's
Yeah.
my bet.
Yeah, that would make sense. But god damn it. Like
I am glad we saw him again because I was afraid he just was going to disappear because I like the Jay Garrick character.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, this is my first time actually seeing Jay Garrick on screen because I've
Oh, that's
never
right.
watched.
Yeah.
And that was so awesome to see. Like, I love how accurate they had his costume.
Oh,
at least,
yeah, well,
you know,
actually,
in
the-
my mind.
Jay Garrick is probably one of the best characters
Yeah.
Yeah.
in rotation on the show.
His what's it called? The outfit that fake Jay had on was also pretty accurate. It had a bigger
Yeah.
lightning bolt.
Okay.
Yeah. They're both very good.
The whole
yeah.
crux of season 2 is that unquote Jay Garrick shows up to Earth 2, but he's held the real Jay Garrick hostage for a long time, and it's actually Hunter Zolomon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, wasn't some of the promo art for season 2 like the one comic cover that has Jay running on one side and Wally running on the other, or not Wally, Barry running on the other
They
side?
actually
Yes.
they acted that out on the show.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's rad.
Patty's down on the ground, and she says, like, help me, and, like, Jay and Barry are running opposite sides of some kind of structure, and they both meet at the end.
That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah. Season 2
But
was
yeah.
good.
I missed the days of season 2.
I miss Zoom, and actually I've been going back and watching some older episodes from last season and the season before. I really like that, like, every time the Black Flash shows up, someone's like, oh fuck, Hunter Zolomon.
Mm-hmm.
Go away.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I also miss some of these characters. I miss Jesse quite a bit.
Jesse's mask is for some reason makes that outfit just come all together.
Yeah.
Yep. It does.
It's so weird. I remember when we first saw her costume so clearly, because it was Reverb's. Was it Reverb?
Oh, fuck.
Vibe?
No, it wasn't. What the Trajectory?
Trajectory. Yeah, it was her costume first, and then
Yeah.
they just took the same costume and put a lightning bolt on it.
Here, I need a costume. Here's this costume that belonged to a dead woman.
Yeah, who she didn't die. She turned into like Speed
She
Force
turned
energy.
into Speed Force dust.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, she takes part of the season 2 plot is that the fake Jay is using Velocity 9
Mm-hmm.
to help his speed, but then it ended hurting his speed. And this girl Trajectory recreates it and just starts dosing herself on it left and right. And then runs away from Barry so hard and so fast that she generates the same kind of energy Zoom is making, and it destroys.
Yeah, that's how
don't
they.
do drugs, kids. It'll get you hooked, and then you'll turn to space dust.
Yep.
Sounds like the fate of a lot of women I was interested in dating when I was younger. They would just run from me and turn to dust to get away from me.
God damn it.
And I thought Chris's job was to be self-depreciative.
I've gotten better.
Yeah, but it's,
I'm a multitasker.
Again, it's hard to talk about good episodes. Like, it's really
It
hard.
is.
It is kind of cool to see because we just had a time loop episode with Legends, and now we have kind of a slowed time. The whole episode takes over 8 real minutes.
Yeah.
8 real world minutes anyway, and that's kind of cool because then you get an idea of how fast speedsters actually move when they're kind of moving at that speed.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I will say one thing. If I have a problem with this episode, it's when they're already in flash time and then they go speedster away. That didn't quite make sense to me.
Yeah, it's like you're already going fast. Are you going faster than fast? Like,
it's a timey-wimey episode.
I guess, but it's still like it's a show. You already have to accept that they run faster than the speed of light, so you kind of have to like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll give you guys this one. I gave you time doppelgangers and I don't know, the Black Flash or whatever. So I can give you this one. Yeah, but this was
everyone and like this like none of the stuff that's been bothersome this season was brought up. Like Iris was fine. They had a cool moment with Killer Frost. I think the attention to detail where like if he pulled someone in flash time, they started actively sweating.
Yeah,
because of a strain in their body.
Yeah, because the longer they stayed like that, the harder it is on them. And I like that little detail quite a bit, and that it starts with Jay, and then it sort of goes from person to person. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, they even showed you a little bit of it before the speedsters started feeling it with Cisco, like when he was trying to gate whatever the bomb was out of there, and he all of a sudden starts to collapse, and Barry's like, "Oh God, yeah, you're not a speedster. You can't be in this for very long. You gotta go, man. Bye." And
they like usually when something like this, like when Dark Knight Rises introduced a nuke, I was like, "Oh come on." And then when Arrow did it, we all kind of rolled our eyes. For some reason this time I was like, this actually works.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't an imminent. It was like, I'm gonna blow up a bomb. No, you're not. I blew up a bomb. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, this entire episode felt like it was making up for a majority of the season by actually having Barry use his flash powers in interesting ways.
The most I've seen Barry as the Flash this whole season.
Yeah, and also this is him actually using his brain. Because I feel like I always expect Barry to be smarter than he is, but show Barry is very dumb. Like
he is very stupid
for such a learned man.
He's very stubborn and very stupid. Like there's no reason for him to have created Flashpoint at the end of season 2 because like he wins and gets everything he needed that he could possibly have at that point in his life, and he's like, nah. Whatever, I'm gonna go save mom.
Yeah, because I'm a child.
Yeah.
Well, that was more to your point, Arlen. Like, he's supposed to be a smart man, but he actually seems very dumb. Like when he's erasing all the calculations and whatever on the dry erase board or whatever, the whiteboard, and then he just starts writing down Speed Force underline. Nothing else.
He just starts poking the finger. Speed Force.
Answer no appear. Answer no appear.
Barry, run. Barry, run.
Barry, run. Barry can only do run.
Oh, Barry running makes Jack a dull boy.
All work, no run make Barry sad.
But then we also get Jessie being incredibly smart, which makes sense because she's Harry's daughter. And we even get Jay being very smart, which is something that I like, that it's 3 people who we're told are supposed to be smart, being smart, and that still maybe isn't enough, and I like that quite a bit.
I think when this show starts dabbling in like the Flash mythology, I think it actually excels because like the debate on whether or not to throw the bomb into the Speed Force is interesting because I sat there, I'm like, I don't know, would it take that? Like, what would happen?
Yeah, and like, what would that affect? other things also, because like if we assume that the multiverse map from Multiversity applies to the television show stuff also, this would affect the ancestral plane in Legends. And this would affect, any of the other, sort of mirror realities or, mirror dimensions, other dimensions that we've explored in all of these shows.
And there was a lot of Thawne references.
There were. That to me felt like them hinting at Thawne.
Yeah.
They dropped his name at least 4 times.
Which,
I was thinking about that, and I'm like, this is the first season where a speedster isn't the major villain for Flash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got me wondering, because like the speedster villains are much better than DeVoe, it seems, like more appealing. So I'm wondering if we might see Godspeed by the end of this season.
Maybe.
Oh, fuck.
We'll see. Maybe I do, and we've talked about this scene many times, but when Thawne recognizes DeVoe, it makes me think, is he smiling because he knows that he shows up? Is that why he's reacting that way? Because he knows it's sort of a...
And here's the thing, like, this probably wouldn't be too much speculation if that hadn't happened, and then Tom Cavanaugh playing Reverse Flash and Crisis on Earth X saying, no, I am from Earth 1, and you did not see me die.
Yeah. So this is either hinting that he's going to be, like, the extra special second big bad of the season, or he's...
I would totally love him in that role where he's just looming over the show, and you're like, I don't know when he's going to show up, but he's definitely going to show up, and it's going to be bad news.
Yeah.
Oh god, what if Thawne like went and body swapped with DeVoe and took all his powers from him?
Ooh, that would be interesting, I guess.
You do have 2 villains who can steal bodies.
That would actually really work too, based on that flashback scene with Thawne saying like, love your work, like, or whatever exactly he said, because it could just
fan
be
of your work.
him hinting at like, hey, I want you to do all this so I can then use it.
Right.
Maybe not steal his body, but maybe DeVoe is going to create an opening for him somehow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it could be that DeVoe is trying to reverse things that Thawne caused, all his messing with time. Maybe that's the bigger issue at work that DeVoe's worried about. I would say
because we still don't know what Thawne did on his way back from, like, he drops Barry off and then seemingly he leaves and shaves, which I still find amusing. He comes back without a beard.
Yeah.
He says like, everything's the same for you, but for me, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he goes off and is the villain of Legends.
He's like, gotta go with another show now.
Yeah. Gotta go be utilized better on an entirely other show.
Although I don't think we're going to see Matt Letcher again for a long time, because he's a series regular on Narcos season 4.
Well, yeah, yeah, we'll see. That doesn't mean much. But yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting. I would be curious as to when he does show up again. I do think he will be in season 5, either as the main villain or as maybe a secondary villain in some
There's
form.
too much setup. Like, there's too many teases.
Yeah. The return of Thawne, and I can already see the poster now. It's just a Thawne poster advertising next season.
If he came back in that fucking gas mask suit from Crisis, I wouldn't even be mad about it. I love that suit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Or just the traditional suit. That would be cool too.
I really thought what Barry did at the end of this episode was cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
awesome. It was filmed beautifully.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was done really well.
And I am almost positive that was really Grant Gustin who ran up and ran horizontally on a car.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Also, like I feel like they used a slow motion camera, maybe, and then they composited that shot. I really am curious about how they did that. All
right, so go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say something about Iris. So if you have something to say about this,
the one thing I've noticed from watching The Flash this season is I don't know if it's Grant Gustin's choice or if it's the director's, but somebody needs to explain to him that he looks like a goon when he's running. Like, not the special effect shots, but just when he's starting to run or coming out of a run, he always looks very awkward, is what I've noticed. And maybe it's just my personal thing, but it just, something about it doesn't look right to me. It doesn't look like the way someone would naturally run.
I mean, between him and Ezra Miller's run in Justice League, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
Ezra Miller was like swinging his arms out. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, good point. Good point. It looks like somebody
he's like, I've lost all muscle mass in my arms.
I more like someone who's lost all greater motor control of their upper body when they're running.
I think they might do that though, so it makes it look like less realistic.
Right.
So it's like, oh, this person is doing something really weird. Oh, they're running fast.
Yeah, I think actual running isn't very cinematic. That's why Tom Cruise has kind of made a career out of being very cinematic while running. Among other people, him, Harrison Ford, and any number of people that I'm not mentioning.
Nicolas Cage tried.
Yeah, but
what hasn't he tried?
But Cruise and Ford, I definitely think are like the prime examples of somebody who looks good while they are moving.
Yep, Pamela Anderson as well.
Well, for different reasons.
Wow, that was such a lowest common denominator joke from you. I'm kind of surprised.
That's like if there was a version of this show in the 90s.
Jesus Christ.
With me and Chris being 6 years old and
sorry,
physics jokes.
You brought up running, and I was trying to think of like any actor that was like specifically a running role, and I'm like, well, Baywatch.
Yeah, I would have been in my teens on this show with a bunch of 6-year-olds. It would have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan fucking carbon dated me the other day when I was like, have you not seen Harvey Birdman? He's like, when it came out, I was 6. I was like, fuck.
Oh, God.
That's not an excuse. I was watching Robot Chicken at 6, but then again, I had a very bad childhood, so...
I was watching Samurai Jackets.
It's just funny to hear someone say, no, I wasn't allowed to watch Harvey Birdman. I'm like, wow. I can relate. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch the Power Rangers for some reason.
What?
God,
my mom's only excuse was it's too violent, and like the next day, my dad's like, "Want to watch Predator? Sure."
And my parents would just, well, my dad mostly would just take me to the movies if I wanted to see something. I mean,
and here's my theory. My mom spoiled me rotten with Ninja Turtles toys when I was little, and then as soon as I transitioned to Power Rangers, I think she was like, "Abso-fucking-lutely not. You're not allowed to watch this. I don't want to buy you toys."
Yeah.
Well, that and they were human beings, not cartoon turtles.
I guess that's similar to my own experience. My mom freaked out when I was watching Army of Darkness.
Oh my God! What a campy ass movie to be caught watching.
Yeah. But yeah, my dad was like, "It's not even that bad. It's not like watching Evil Dead," which is a very interesting memory that is burned in my brain.
I had a friend who was raised very religious. His family was very religious based. And I remember every time we hung out with him, it's like we couldn't even watch Cartoon Network because his parents wouldn't allow it. Like one day, Skeleton Warriors came on. I was like, I mean, can we at least watch this? And he's like, I don't know. You have to ask my mom. I was like, you're gonna put me in that position?
They make you watch VeggieTales.
And then I actually went up. I was like, hey, is Skeleton Warriors okay? She was like, no. I was like, I'm so broken right now.
No lie, there's a guy I work with who won't watch Harry Potter movies because he says they're about witchcraft.
Oh, this is a fascinating subject that I've heard about also. I don't understand that at all. I've never been able to comprehend that. Like, it's because they're witches? Because
I guess I don't know.
It's not like we didn't realize that witches aren't a real thing.
Yeah,
there's no such
but he'll watch Marvel movies. That's the thing, and he's like, "Oh, that was great."
Doesn't China have a strict no magic policy?
They have a no religion policy, which is why Doctor Strange couldn't be just a magician. He had to be a magician, but his magic was science. That's why they're so no, it's magic, but it's actually science.
It's magic science.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Speed Force. No.
But wouldn't Star Wars not be allowed then because it's a religion?
Yeah.
And...
They had to.
Good point.
They had to argue the scientific merit of that, I guess, to Chinese. Yeah.
Oh, that explains all of George Lucas now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
job,
they changed the dub. I bet, like, if you watch the Chinese dub in mainland China, I'm sure they don't describe it as a religion at all. I'm sure they describe it very scientifically.
The Jedi Task Force.
Yeah, they're like the midichlorians.
Yeah, the midichlorian
exactly.
order.
Yeah. That's what George Lucas is doing. He's still working for Lucas, but he's just writing all the Chinese versions of these movies.
George Lucas saw the future. All our movies will be made for China in 10 years.
Someone's like, George, you keep adding little inserted paragraphs that reintroduce Jar Jar Binks, and we keep telling you it's not happening. Jar Jar's the key to all this.
He's actually the most powerful Sith Lord.
Jedi, and Jar Jar is actually like a Christ figure.
Jar Jar Binks is actually Darth Ravon.
So back to Flash. You just something about Iris?
Iris actually wasn't annoying.
Yeah, no.
But what about the trailer for next week?
I didn't see it.
I don't want to talk about next week.
I have refused to watch it.
Here's the thing: watching the summary, or not watching the summary, reading the summary for next week makes me more okay with it because I know it's only one episode, and it's a plot line that they used in Smallville twice.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is Alan here?
I hear Alan screaming somewhere. And Arlen, I was going to say watching the summary is what illiterate people do. So don't ever say that again.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
You can bring up any show in existence, and like from like a window or like from your floor panel or from your TV itself, Alan will push forward and go, "Yeah, but Smallville did it," and then like start rambling off dates and episodes.
The fact that he's able to do episode titles is what's amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I watched all of that show, so I know references to it. I know Batista was in an episode. I know things like that.
All of Smallville, and the only thing I remember from it is Sam Witwer as Doomsday.
Yeah, that's
insane.
That is the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
Well, quick question. None of you have met Al in real life. I'm wondering, is he part of Chloe's weird sex cult?
Possibly.
Does he have a brand somewhere on his body? Is that why he's so devoted to Smallville?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's a very strange thought that I'd like to
It's a very personal thought, too.
Yeah. Yeah, one that we will never have proof for, thank God.
But the Iris thing, though, my favorite part of the whole of this is like, because I follow a bunch of like DC TV fan pages, the fucking reactions on either end are hysterical.
Right.
Because I'm of the belief that like, this sucks because it's adding fuel to the fire that is the Iris problem, but it is only one episode, so it's not going to be a big deal. But there are people who are like, that's it, I quit the show. This is the worst thing to have ever happened on any
Sorry, all I'm
show
hearing was a
ever.
sketchy ass like shutter like slam the door like behind with some ghosty winds coming through, and I'm like, the fuck.
Oh no. Time to do an emergency after dark.
Yay!
But no, like, yeah, I don't. Really, you didn't stop after the Gap model was on the show?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, there have been plenty other quit-worthy moments of the show. I'm surprised people even came back after the Savitar reveal because the whole everybody on the internet was like, "It's Barry." Like in the first quarter of the third season, they're like, "It's Barry. It's Barry. It's totally Barry."
Remember when I was convinced that it was Robbie because that was the only thing that made sense to
when
me.
we were all convinced it was Robbie because that was a far better reveal.
Right.
Yeah.
Barry fucking steps out and we're all like, "You've got to be shitting me!"
Like,
And then he had Ilio's pizza on his face.
Iris was good this episode. Like, this is what Iris should be doing. Like
the fact that he called her a lightning rod, I'm like, oh, God, this is great. This is comic book stuff.
Yep.
Like, she should be the person who he goes to when he can't figure it out. That's her role, not leader of the team.
Or a speedster.
She's the one who tells him, like, hey, calm down, take a minute, think about this, think about this. Like, and the term lightning rod used in the comics, it's specifically used in the Rebirth graphic novel, and they describe it as like every speedster has a lightning rod, and a lightning rod is a human being in the real world who basically can tether them back to reality if they get lost in the Speed Force. What really cool thing, and I think like the end of Rebirth, Barry is, I think he's in the negative Speed Force because Thawne traps him there because that's Thawne's version of it. And he's just running and running and running and running. He's like, who am I? Where am I? I'm Barry. Keep going. I mean, he's like, and then starts losing his memories. And then he's like, no, Iris, and then runs right back home.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
So does that mean Wally or Barry is Wally's lightning rod?
I came back for you, bro. Well, I mean, everybody has their own. I think in the Rebirth line currently, Erik does not have one, which is why he's lost in the Speed Force still.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, snap.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but Wally had Linda.
Yeah.
Johnny Quick had Jesse and his wife. I think he dies in that issue. Hit Max Mercury. I can't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like Iris was really well done in this episode. This reminded me of in the past when she's been used well. In season 1, she was used well towards the end because this was kind of her role then. She was the person who kind of became the thing that Barry could bounce ideas off of, and be like emotional support, which is an important role. Yeah.
I really like the moment where Killer Frost is like, "Don't let Katie die," because I think that's a cool tease. Because either they're going to merge into one identity, or Killer Frost is starting to lean towards not being a sociopath.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that Killer Frost, she has a purpose. She has a different purpose. Like, she's maybe not just her bad side, but she's kind of supposed to protect her from evil things. Like, that's why this personality exists, which is a much better way of thinking about that sort of alter ego than just this Hyde type figure, I think.
Yeah, well, and like I rewatched when I showed Joe that the Crisis fight scene. I forgot that she goes full fucking Sub-Zero Glacius on people at the end by forming a big ice spike on her hand and fucking people up.
Yep, it's pretty.
That
good.
was so cool.
Yeah.
And what do they say? Like, it's time. I think you introduced him to your mean roommate.
Yeah.
That's fucking the best. But yeah, this is a good episode, and unfortunately, I think by next week we're gonna be I don't know. We may not get into DeVoe next week either.
So here's the thing. This is the week of a lot of hinting at things that are to come. Like with Barry and Iris's very obvious time-traveling daughter who showed up again.
Yeah. I'm bothered by that because I feel like they're trying to do too many things with this. Like, you need to either focus on DeVoe or have that be going on in the background, not both.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, is the time-traveling daughter supposed to pay off in the season, or is she not in the same way? Is she vigilante-like in that she's a thing that will be a thread that will pay off later? And is that the idea, or is she supposed to in some way affect this season? And I'm very interested in how that's going to play out.
Well,
I mean, they're being as subtle as a jackhammer with it anyway. So
no, they're doing nothing to hide it. Like,
like
for one, she looks exactly like Iris. Like,
yes,
ridiculously so.
And just her attitude, I'm like, yeah, she's Barry's kid.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm like, you motor mouth, short attention span, fucking little adorable nerd.
Well, and if you remember in her first, like, not official appearance, because that was in the crossover, but in her first official appearance in the Flash episodes, like, she was writing in the language that Barry was writing in when he came back from the Speed Force.
See, and that's another loose thread that has yet to be followed up on because, like,
they can milk that for seasons.
Still don't know what all of his rambling meant.
Yeah, that's...
Well, we got some of the payoff because the whole thing with him being on trial, and that was something that he was saying, like, no, I did not kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I do love the continued attempt to find out where this house is bitchin'. This house is bitchin'. What? I don't know, I just thought it might work.
Yeah, I just don't know how they're going to tie all this up. And, like, I think last week I said we had 9 episodes left, so we have, like, 7 or 8 episodes left.
Yeah.
So I don't know how everything that's been set up so far ties together exactly.
So it's like DeVoe's plan.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Again, like, what is his plan? And this is where I get nervous because none of you, actually, I don't think anybody on this podcast knew me that well at the moment. None of you who are here with me today, none of you knew me that well during season 4 of Arrow. I was getting whiplash from the show. Like, it was like 1 week, the Bee Lady episode, which I've described, in which an army of robotic bees form together into a man and fight Oliver. That's an actual thing that actually happened.
Awesome.
That episode happens, and then an episode about the Wrecking Crew happens, where it's Team Arrow versus the Wrecking Crew, and there's an episode where Thea is trying to escape a building that's collapsing down on her, and it's great.
Wait, there's a DC version of the Wrecking Crew?
Yeah, I think there is. I don't know if they're called the Wrecking Crew. I don't know what the DC equivalent is. But yeah, like, that happens, and it's really well done. And that episode came, like, right before or right after the Bee Lady episode. And then another good episode would happen, again, either before or after, and then another bad episode would happen. So it was like this continual thing of, I don't know if this season is good or not, because I'll get great episodes, and then I'll get episodes that are just absolutely terrible.
And I was going to say, like, that's the season's biggest problem, because, like, the first 2 episodes were kind of bad, and the 3rd episode was great, and then, like, we fell in love with DeVoe, like, almost right away.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yep.
Weren't those fantastic memories?
We were so innocent.
Yeah, we were so innocent. We had no idea the bullshit they were about to pull. But I don't think it's as long haul terrible as the previous season.
No, because after a certain point, it felt like we had a dead rat sewn into our stomach. And we were just slowly dying from the blood poisoning of that dead rat.
That dead rat's name was Savitar.
Yep. So it was like, okay, this slow decline into hell.
There is a similar problem, though, because we didn't know what the fuck Actually, we didn't know who Savitar was until there's, 2 episodes left?
Right. But we did have an idea of what his plan was.
We got a big fucking lore dump at the very end. He's like, I'm going to project myself across all of space and time. I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah. But we knew he wanted revenge against Barry. We knew that. Like, that was clear. He wanted revenge against Barry. So whatever
Everyone wants revenge against Barry.
Right. Whatever his actual plan was, it wasn't that big a deal. And also, we had the Iris is gonna die thing, so that sort of preoccupied us. But as the Iris is gonna die mystery became less and less interesting, it became like, well, as we get closer to Iris's death, I care less and less about Iris. I care less and less about whether or not she dies, which became irritating after.
And quite frankly, the more interesting turnout would have been that she did die, but that's so. You can't kill off Iris West in the Flash TV show. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, you wrote to spend a whole season getting her back.
Yeah, just like you can't kill off Laurel Lance.
Oh my God. Well, I have nothing more to say about Flash at this point.
No, it was a fine episode. Next one is Black Lightning because they air the same night now. So, yeah.
Good shit. What the fuck is Gamby doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Like he's
Gamby is a. I don't know what the proper term is. Yeah.
What's that line from? It's the only funny line I think is in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's like, what are you, a quadruple agent?
Right. Yeah. I did like when he dresses up like the Shadow at some point.
Yes.
That was interesting.
Well, that was the scene that had Run the Jewels playing, so that automatically grabbed my attention.
I'm glad you brought that up because we've been bringing up this entire run of seasons so far is that these shows seem to echo each other at some points. Both Arrow and Black Lightning both featured scenes where the villain is fighting some scrub in a fight club.
Yeah, you're right.
This was probably my favorite Tobias appearance so far. I don't know why.
Yeah, because his character keeps on
they're
getting
finally
more
like
interesting.
fleshing out the character.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like seeing his big ass in a karate gi was very amusing.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that line. He's got to be hopped up on something.
Well, yeah, it looked like he was like that was their stand-in for Kimbo Slice. Like you could tell that's exactly who they wanted to have him actually fighting, but Kimbo Slice is dead. So,
thanks, Bellator. And yes, I'm blaming Bellator for his death, because I think fucking the other guy he fought almost died too for similar reasons.
Mm.
But anyway,
good.
Sorry,
this
Floyd.
was really crazy at the end too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just jump straight to the end where
Yeah.
Yeah.
so the character whose name I've already forgotten, he's dead, but he's in the hotel room. And then did he get a visit?
Latavius.
Did he get a visit from Lady Eve? I'm forgetting what actually happened, but it was really fucking weird.
He got a visit from. First of all, I thought he was dead, but then he comes back to life, and he gets a visit from the woman he shot.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
that's right.
Projects herself onto his body and becomes a tattoo. And she says, "Do you believe in the resurrection?"
Right. So is he in hell?
I think he is alive.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
wondering if he's going to be their version of the Tattooed Man, I think his name is. He's a character that showed up in the DC comics for a bit, but he's a guy who has tattoos that he can bring to life to fight for him. And I'm wondering if this is the beginning of his appearance, potentially. I don't know for sure, because, I mean, he's not the same name, because that's the first thing I looked up when they said his name in this episode, and it's not the same guy. But the fact that he had a tattoo that was walking around and then all of a sudden reattached itself to him, I'm wondering if that might be what they're trying to do here.
Possibly. I'm so confused. Like,
Yeah.
It was such a weird place to end this on. Like, I get that you have to have the end of your episode be like, you want people to remember the end of your episode. I get that. I get that idea of like, you want people to have anticipation going into the next episode. But I feel like there's a line, and like that felt like a different show almost. That's how weird and bizarre that was, and it felt like the opening to another episode more than the end. I don't remember what it's called. Not a recap. Postscript. It felt less like a postscript and more like a prescript.
I did find some information in the Tattooed Man that actually sounds like it's going to apply here. The original character was a guy named Mark Richards. It says, Mark Richards was a U.S. Marine until his helicopter went down. He was presumed dead. He made his way to the nation of Madura, where he was taught sin grafting.
Okay.
Which sounds exactly like what happened at the end of this episode.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. Because my knowledge of that guy was really only from Final Crisis and one other appearance. I forget which comic it was. But yeah. I mean, that was my first thought the minute I saw that happen. So.
Interesting.
I mean, I was curious as to when they were going to kind of blow the lid off, like the bigger world of superhumans in the show.
Yeah, and it does seem like, so they've been hinting at Lady Eve being kind of voodoo-ish, like voodoo adjacent, I guess.
A neighbor of.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. I'm looking at it again. Like, I can see how that might be a thing. Maybe he didn't actually die. I don't understand the dream sequence.
Choked to death by Tobias. Like, how is he not dead?
I don't know. Like, Tobias has super strength, as we found out.
Yeah.
Because his great-grandfather was a Tuskegee airman, I guess.
Well, that, and apparently Tobias doesn't age either.
Yes, yeah, but he's still his father's about the same age though as Jefferson's would be. So he's, I don't know, 10 years older than Jefferson maybe.
I guess.
Because he was full grown, but Jefferson was like 17 in
maybe
the flashback
he looked younger than that to me, but that's really neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Tobias. I really like this episode just because it fleshed out Tobias quite a bit more than any other episode has this season.
Yeah, it really did. And this is another thing. Like, we felt for the villains in this episode, which is something that I think a good show should do. You should kind of feel for both sides a little bit in order to make a competent villain. And in many ways, Flash has really not done this for all of its seasons.
Well, Harrison Wells.
I mean, in a general way.
Yeah.
overall, they really hasn't done that for most of the show.
No, like especially like their recurring Monsters of the Week or show they show up to mean mug the camera and then get tossed in.
Yeah, like you can see even Lady Eve's side, even though she's the most mustache trolling villain.
She really is. She might as well have been trolling one while doing the albino bone speech.
Like she grows a mustache just to troll it, and then
she's like, off. So she got turned into looked like
melted dog toy.
It looked like fucking Meltman from Action League now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked horrible. And the context of this is that towards the end of the episode, Black Lightning goes to make a move on Tobias, whilst Tobias is making a move on Lady E. If he kills Lady E, the organization he works for will kill him fast.
Right.
So he frames Black Lightning by introducing fucking lightning guns.
Yeah. Lightning
I was like,
guns.
okay, show, you're gonna this kind of escalation.
They just have lightning guns. Yeah, I was okay with it. I was cool with it. Yeah, I did. I liked that bit. And that's a smart thing. And I feel like did they do something similar to this in Luke Cage? Did they frame Luke for Cottonmouth's death? I can't actually remember.
I don't think so.
Because this feels like something that we would have seen on Luke Cage, oddly enough.
We saw it attempted in BVS.
Yeah.
When they were like, hey, Superman shot those people. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he shoot those people?
He shot those people.
He shot those people, everybody.
That's what Superman does.
Because Superman needs guns.
He shoots people. That's how Superman plays. Yeah. I feel like we've talked about BVS enough on this show that if I went back through,
you could just stitch together a fucking episode.
Yep, definitely.
But like the whole time, just play like old Nintendo music over it.
Yeah. I don't really. Again, like I don't know what to say because this episode was really good. Until the weird David Lynch scene. Like
it does feel like something out of Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did like Jefferson feeling conflicted over killing Tobias's sister. That was interesting because
did he directly though? Like, isn't it a stray bullet?
Yeah, I think he is inadvertently responsible. But I do like that even though you can kind of assume that she might be the bad guy, he still is like trying to help her. Which is another thing that like I like that out of a hero. Like you don't give up on people regardless of where they lean. And I like that quite a bit.
I like the evolution of Lynn's feelings on her family members having powers.
Yeah, it's very logical.
It's it's growth oriented. Where because Jefferson brings it up, he's like, "Oh, what happened to these powers are a drug and you're an addict?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it goes beyond that. It goes all the way around to, okay, wait a second. I want her to be safe. Is the safest option for her to just have the powers and never learn to use them, ever, or is the safer option for her to learn how to use her powers expertly and being able to defend herself in any situation, regardless of whether or not she's ever going to use them again?
Yeah, and Lynn even says she's stubborn and she's also a grown adult, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's like she's going to go out there regardless of what we say to her.
Yeah, like teach her, and if it really is not right for her, she'll figure it out on her own.
Yeah.
Presumably. So, and like she's not even trained, and she went toe to toe with Jefferson like for fairly long
quite a
time
bit.
there. So she's gonna be tough regardless of how well he trains her. So yeah,
I kind of can't wait. Also, like I said, the Gamby stuff is getting really weird because he's obviously hiding stuff from Jefferson, but he's being very open to like Lynn and Anissa, whilst also maintaining open contact with both Lady Eve and Tobias, and then doing as much as doing her fucking dirty work.
Yeah, that was interesting. The idea that he's kind of turned evil, but with the idea of being, I'm kind of hurting them from the inside, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
by helping them and making sure that they're efficient, they'll kill less people. I guess that's what we're supposed to assume. And I think that works. He seems like the kind of character who would make that pragmatic choice.
Everybody in this show seems pragmatic. Like, even when Tobias is like, he must be hopped up on something. He's like, oh, green light. He's like, this needs to stop. He's like, because dead people don't buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a very smart thing of him to say. Like,
yeah,
he's not. He's a murderer and he's clearly insane, but he still has a sense of like, yeah, no, this isn't right. Ultimately,
he sees no need for collateral damage.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Which is the kind of very I would say very fond of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cottonmouth. Here's the thing: he automatically separated himself from Cottonmouth, but he's in the same league, I think. In a very good way.
Which is funny because he cottonmouthed Eve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very strange. He caught one over on her in a very effective way. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. Anything that we've left out?
I don't think so. That covered all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess Arrow. So
Arrow was okay this week.
It was
just fine.
Yeah. The action scenes were good.
Yeah.
They were very well done. But saying that about Arrow is like, saying grass is green. like
water is wet.
Like
I really have to say it, like, before we get to the media conversation. Towards the end of the episode, when Diaz pulls the cops up on Ollie, and Ollie just like shoots his fucking thing into the air and just floats away. For some reason, I found that to be hysterical.
It kind of is.
Because he was like, and just like, yeah, Mary.
Because sometimes they don't light it right, and sometimes he does it. It happens very slowly. Also, sometimes, and the slower it happens, the less compelling it is.
Oh, so the more it looks like Steel trying to lift himself off the ground.
Damn it! I thought I was just gonna say that. Which is funny because then, like, the shot of Thea gliding into the other building looked awesome.
Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. It really did.
This episode was just compared to last week. It was a breath of fresh air because, like, Thea suiting back up, like Roy coming back, seemingly to stick around for a little while.
Yeah, for a little bit. I'm okay with this side story that they're going on.
Yeah.
And
I feel like this episode was kind of the restart of where the rest of the season is going after that last episode was ending the major storyline, quote unquote, major storyline of the crisis between the teams.
This is definitely the beginning of 6B. Like, this is this is where 6B begins, and everything from here is its own story.
I really hope this concludes with like a fucking mega team of like current Team Arrow plus Roy plus Thea plus Wild Dog Curtis, and Dinah can kick rocks and be replaced by Black Diamond.
Yeah, and I do think this episode, partway through it, I was like, okay, maybe there's a purpose to last episode, and it's to make sure that these teams don't just team up every episode. So it's not like, well, why don't you guys just stay a team? Like,
it's the Avengers problem.
Right. It's like
where is the Hulk or Iron Man when they're helicarriers shooting at civilians?
Right. Like So last episode sort of serves as like, well, that's why they really hate each other. It's not just a disagreement. Like, they despise each other and they don't want to work together. That's why they don't just call each other. So it kind of makes it so that when they do have to come together again for something, it means that it's going to be something that really needs all of them to come together. So I kind of look back on last episode with a little bit more of a glimmer of positivity in a way, like the purpose that it served.
Nope.
I'm not saying that it's good. In the same way, I'm not saying that what Civil War did cleans up all the issues that Ultron has. Ultron still has those issues, but I look back on Ultron more positively, knowing what happened in Civil War, if that makes sense.
You remember when Thor was like, BRB, gotta go do a trailer?
Right. I can look back on that and be like, I don't care because it brought us to Civil War.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what this is. Like, last episode, regardless of how well it was executed, kind of needed to happen. So
I'm fully convinced that Dinah and New Laurel are going to effectively switch roles. And Dinah is just going to cross all the way over, which at this point is the logical progression of her character because she is fucking terrible.
Yeah, she is.
I was on that train last week, but then they set up Laurel as the double agent. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think they may put her in original Laurel, Earth 1 Laurel. They may put her in her Black Canary suit, but she'll ultimately go. What's the name of the girlfriend from Fast 6? She'll ultimately betray them at the end. Fast 6X.
I can't remember.
Bloody.
Well, no, the MMA fighter, because it's not Ronda Rousey.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, she'll Gina Carano them. So she may take that role, but she will not have it for like all of next season, or anything like that.
God, I hope not.
I agree. I really hope not. But no, here's the thing. I like her as the double agent. Like, that's better, actually, than what she has
No, that
been
works. Doing. I think that works. But I really hope Connor's idea does not come to pass because, I mean, that's just exchanging one turd for another. Like, at this point. I despise Dinah's character at this point. Like, she's terrible. She's terrible.
No, yeah, I agree. And she was one of my favorite characters, which makes it worse. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that she was the best part of Season 5, or among the best parts of Season 5 at least. So the fact that she is so, like, unrepentantly a bitch in this season so far is really terrible.
She's like gone full fucking Anakin Skywalker. Like,
Yeah.
Like, on a dime, I'm fucking evil now. Ha-ha!
And I don't know...
you're telling me she's going to kill Ollie's son?
God damn it.
I mean, would you fucking miss that?
Well,
I would actually like to see that fight.
Yeah, I would like to see that because William will just absorb her soul. And,
Exactly.
His eyes roll in the back of his head, and he starts, like, sucking inwards, and, like, just her essence gets drained.
So, William is Malice?
Yeah.
There it is.
God.
That's the connection. There it is.
You turn the W upside down, just like McDonald's.
Oh, wow. No, here's the thing. That started as a joke. This is a serious theory now. I'm in. But no.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got to question any child that's under the age of, I don't know, 18 to 20 who's doing quadratic equations.
Or like Zoe, who has changed ages from the first season that we saw her in.
Wait. Renee's daughter?
Yes, she was like 5 when we last saw her.
She looks significantly older.
She really looks like she's easily 13.
What is wrong with the Arrowverse?
What we've learned from this is that the CW has no idea how to cast children actors.
No, and they don't know how to keep the same child actor on for any period of time.
There's something in the juice that they're drinking. It's making them age, just like on Gotham.
Well,
they have some weird form of progeria.
Yeah, but it's in fact not aging William. That's the problem.
Yeah, like he's just inconsistent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's like, I need a baba, and then he's like, well, the square root of 625 is.
Well, really, Father, if you take the hypotenuse and multiply that by the fractional angle,
you get more trajectory in your arrows.
Yeah. Really, you have a better shot. You angled it against, if you took wind resistance into consideration. I said it before the show started, but this was the most gimmicky arrow episode I've ever seen. Oliver had some kind of fucking trick arrow for every situation this episode.
Yeah, he really did.
You mean the fireworks arrow?
It's the most. I have an arrow for that since maybe season 3.
Yeah,
he did a lot of that.
He forgot his punching bag arrow at home.
Yeah.
Oh God, I wish he had the boxing glove arrow so much.
He has referenced the boxing glove arrow before, though.
Yes, as a joke, and it's.
He was like, it's better than a boxing glove.
Yeah.
That was the thing. That scene when he used the fireworks arrow. Like, my wife was watching it with me, and she's like, "Wait, what? What? Like he
And,
didn't
like-
even
and,
light
like-
it.
Then 2 seconds later, he has a fucking bola arrow, and he
Yeah.
fucking zips the out of there with.
He's had the bola arrow for a while, though. To be fair.
But I was just trying to explain to my wife, like, well, he has a lot of different arrows. She's like, what? Like, what is that?
Explaining to somebody who hasn't been aware of the green arrow since like.
And the
4
funny thing
years
is, it was the zipline arrow, the fireworks arrow, and the bola arrow all in the same scene.
old. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then it was also the grappling hook arrow that he used to pull what's her face back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very Batman-y for
Yes.
Wally.
He pulled out
this
the
The line launcher.
cat burglar quiver.
Yep. Yep.
And we mentioned before the show started, the actor playing Roy has beefed up significantly to the point where it doesn't resemble his
Yeah.
old self.
Yeah, he's been eating a lot
He's
of
just got-
steaks, a lot of.
He's been eating a lot of phone books. He's been taking them
God damn it.
protein shakes.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that when they showed Roy, he didn't have a cybernetic arm and a dead cat.
Look, they
Oh,
have
yeah.
successfully stayed away from anything bad arsenal from the comics, okay? I'm not saying they'll never go there, but I'm saying as it stands right now, we haven't even come close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, we haven't gone to his romance with Kaori that disappears because she doesn't love him anymore. That's a thing from the comics. Yeah. Roy was. I was glad to see him in this episode. I miss Jackson from Teen Wolf. R.I.P.
Like we said, it's like Teen Wolf, Glee, and what was the other show?
Teen Wolf, Glee, any sci-fi show, and Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's like a talent pool that CW just consistently plucks from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, including plot lines. So.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Really, anything shot in Canada?
Yeah, exactly. No, this episode was fine. This episode did like the Laurel developments were okay, I guess.
Yeah.
And like they did address the weirdness of someone coming back from the dead. Like the one nurse is like, the doctor, she's like, yeah, I pronounced her dead, but we have speedsters. So really, realistically, I mean, would you believe this over something else?
She's like,
Well, and
didn't aliens invade like 2 years ago?
Yeah. Like,
And that ties into Barry's defense when Defoe showed up and claimed to be alive. So
right.
they're tying those universes together a little bit.
And can we talk about Ramirez just a little bit? And I mentioned this in the chat. He's doing the Pacino impression.
I need him to go full fucking heat.
It needs
Yes.
to happen.
I need him just like start barking in the middle of his sentences. I just had coffee with the guy.
She's got a big ass.
You got your head way up it.
But yeah, like he's doing like I was like, what is he doing right there? And it's very like right before he became only shouty Pacino, when he was like in the mid phase between Godfather 2 and Scent of a Woman. That sort of middle area there, and that's what he's doing, which is a good choice, I think, because he's.
So you're saying at some point he was Pacino-less?
Yes. Well, I think earlier in the season he kind of was. Like, he was kind of Michael right before, spoilers for The Godfather.
Welcome to the Phantom Zone, where we talk about the historic career of Al Pacino and how he changes from movie to movie.
But right before he kills Fredo, or before the scene where he confronts Fredo, like he was, yeah.
Sonny would have lived if he had Easy Pass.
That's not even the same. God damn it!
I couldn't resist.
Father one. I hate you so much.
I remember that's fucking Tracy Morgan on, like, I think it's Conan O'Brien. He's in like a bathrobe and that's it. He's just got his chest exposed and he's just like, yeah, Sonny would have lived if he had Easy Pass. That's all I'm saying.
Only Tracy can get away with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that Ricardo. Ricardo?
Yeah, Ricardo.
Yeah.
He is as an actual character now, as opposed to someone who just stands in the background and goes, oh!
Oh, it's a mid-level thug who gets punched.
Yeah. I like that he's kind of like forming his own American Bratva, which is kind of cool. And then he has Anatoly there to sort of be his like advisor.
My
Which,
Anatoly,
all right, so
Anatoly saying Laurel's name, it just tickles me.
when you first go into that back room filled with Target shelves, Was that a failed Anatoly clone standing next to Anatoly, like the guy with the gigantic beard? Like, what was his deal? Because he didn't have a Russian accent, but he looked and dressed like Anatoly.
In certain time of year, Anatoly must shed skin, and sometimes during process, a mini Anatoly buds off his shoulder, and then I water it a little bit, and it grows.
Anatoly lets off spheres during the year, and they go and plant in the ground.
They're kind of like old dinosaur used to get as kid.
Anatoly is also...
You get it wet and they grow.
He's in contact with a future version of himself from show Altered Carbon.
Jesus Christ.
And him getting punched was hysterical. Because
It really was.
As we've all, I think I'm just convinced that just the power of Anatoly, like the naked eye can't actually see what he's doing, but he's like, I think he's dodging the punch, and then just like, I will fall down to make Green Man feel good.
I hate Oliver, but I still like him, kind of. So
Just like he hits the ground, like opens one eye, he's like, Anatoly, you're so good. Anatoly is very pleased with himself.
Oliver really believed your lie, Anatoly.
Oliver, I believe you knocked me out. I can't be knocked out.
Anatoly is going for Ergot this year.
God damn it.
Well, after I get home, I will go home. I will go home and wrestle 6 bears.
That is right. And then I'm going to kill the current 2 Ergot holders so that they can win more than me.
So Thea got back in the Red Hood, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that also happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that, because she did a good job for someone who hasn't been doing it for a while. So yeah, I guess. Even though I'm pretty sure that was a stunt woman. For most of
Well, yeah.
Like, yeah. But no, she was good. She was fine, I guess.
Yeah, this episode, I think, was just serviceable in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't easy, nothing nutty happened.
Yeah, until the end. So,
Yeah.
again, like, every episode of this week, they end it with something really like, okay then, I guess that's what they're doing. So, the League of Assassins has been reformed. That's...
The shit that just will not die.
Like, so...
Well, that's rather apropos, being that's a group that Ra's al Ghul started. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay, so... and I told them about this in the chat, but I'm going to tell the audience in case anybody just started watching Arrow with us. So, Arrow Season 4, there's a subplot line, kind of like what we're about to enter, actually, from what I can tell, where Oliver is trying to protect Nisa al Ghul, not Talia, who we met last season, Nisa, her younger sister, because Nisa is being targeted by Malcolm, who has taken the position of Ra's al Ghul. But Nisa technically could challenge him for the throne, so he tries to have her killed, and she gets Oliver to help him because they technically got married. So that's why he has to help. And the story ends by him challenging Malcolm for the title of Ra's al Ghul, and he takes the title from Malcolm, and he disbands the League. And he also cuts off Malcolm's arm.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that's the thing that happens. So the only way I can interpret the end of this episode is that members of the League decided to reform the League, and maybe some people who were part of Talia's little, not League of Assassins, maybe members of that League decided to join with people who were loyal to Malcolm, and they reformed the League, and they're looking for a leader, and because Thea is his daughter, they're looking
but
to
Arlen,
her.
Malcolm died on Lee and you.
That's the other option. He's alive.
But Arlen, Malcolm's gonna have a robot arm and a robot eye.
He
Will
better.
you have a dead cat?
I would love that. I would love it if he just shows up and he's just got like half a robot face, because that would be fun. Or he's the face of Bo. When Chris is back, we have to do Doctor Who references. So yeah.
And we told Alan in the chat today because he's the one who brought up. He's like, Malcolm's dead. He died in Lian Yu. No corpse, no body. I mean, no corpse, no death.
If you don't know the no corpse, no death rule, you're not a comic book fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You've never seen a soap opera either.
You've never watched TV.
Yeah.
And even then, it's kind of little tiny sticks.
Yeah.
Because you could still see a body, and then all of a sudden they're back to life by taking some sort of green light pill.
Of course. He's got to be hopped up on something. Anyway. Fuck. I forgot what I was going to say.
I do want to bring up the fact that I hate Diggle's helmet so goddamn much.
Oh, man.
It is the worst fucking thing.
I wish you were along the journey of his earlier helmets, because, oh my god, it has looked worse.
It has been worse.
But seeing it, I mean, not to go into the technical aspects of having a light inside of the helmet means he would be completely blinded when he's walking around at night. I miss him being in the Green Arrow outfit because I think he looked better than Oliver in it. He looked awesome in it, and he had that bitchin' crossbow.
Yeah, and clearly he misses it too.
Once. Yeah, he used it once.
I think the reason he's not in it is, if I'm honest, he was a good Green Arrow because he had a team.
Yeah, but what would Oliver do then?
He really doesn't have a team. And Diggle is fine. Like he's probably tougher now than he was in the first or second season.
Well, he had that fancy arm thingy.
Yeah. That
got rid of his drug addiction.
Yeah. And his nerve damage.
Diggle is arguably one of my favorite characters too.
Yeah. I think he's everybody. He's kind of been mistreated a lot though, as far as Arrow characters. He's been very abused by the writers, and I think that even they would admit that.
I do think that the one consistent thing by the writers is that, like, every time something freaky happens, like, Diggle just can't even. Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, he's
just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the end of the Earth X Crisis or Crisis on Earth X crossover.
I feel like in the CW verse, him and Joe would have a podcast. Where they just
talk about the weird shit that happens on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Just like Diggle could look at Joe and be like, your son fucking unmade my daughter, right?
He's like, yeah, I know, man.
your dick ass son, his fucking flash pointiness.
He gave my wife mind reading abilities.
Oh Jesus.
Like it would just be two men drinking a lot.
Let me tell you what Oliver did to me once.
Yeah. And then Joe just telling horror stories of watching Ralph turn into things.
No God.
Joe's like, it's like a Cronenberg movie every day.
Ralph sneezed once and he got stuck like that.
Where was Ralph this week on Flash?
He wasn't there.
They said he was moving into Star Labs.
Mm-hmm.
He's mourning the loss of his cowgirl friend.
Right. Oh God.
I had already forgotten that happened.
I hate you, Erik. I hate you.
Either that or he's reliving the memory of the only way he can get off is by watching a woman suffer, like we established last episode.
I didn't know his name was Barry.
God damn it! Wow. Okay. Okay. I think we're done with our CW stuff.
I think we are done with our CW stuff. Find me on Instagram at Reverse Connor. You can look me up at Movie Dumpster. Our new episode should be out today. I think we're running into some technical problems, so hopefully it's out.
Yeah, you can find me at Haro and most of the places, spacecolomo.tumblr.com, Lost Haro podcast every week. So, yeah.
You can find me at Erik_Fedor on Instagram, Dogs, Food, Comics. I'm also floating around the Phantom Zone, and I will try and assist you in the best way I possibly can, which probably means I haven't read any of the comics you're currently reading.
And you can find me lurking in a back alley with a typewriter.
Okay, then. All right.